Welcome to Love at Lunch. Whew, it is lunchtime where I am at, and let's talk some wine drinking. I'm not going to have some wine today at lunch. However, there is something about how people who love wine really savor that wine. So they'll take a sip, they drink it out of a specific cup, and they take in a little bit air into their mouth so that it can experience this wine in different ways. They swish it around in their mouth so that they can savor that wine. And what we want to remember is that when we are experiencing good things, we want to create opportunities to savor those good things. Number one is good things are good. We want to feel more about them. We want to dive deeper into them, and we want to retrain our brain so that it's not so negatively focused and it is focused on the good things. And creating those new neural pathways, we have even more access to joy. So as many of you know, my name is Leona Devin, and I wrote a book that was published last week called Finding Your Joy Spot, helping you discover joy in unexpected places, which is a science-based book, shockingly, that really helps us to discover no more opportunities for joy. Now, one would think when you write a book and you finish said book that you would be so incredibly joy-filled. Well, I will tell you, that was not my experience. And so that's why today I thought, let us step into some savoring and some research behind how we can reinforce to our brains when we find those joy spots and experience that joy so that we can experience it even more deeply. And so we are going to talk about 7 ways to enhance the feelings that you love to feel. And this framework works for any positive experience that you want to really experience more of. So often, if we accomplish something or something good happens, we're on to the next thing. Check, done. We are filled with perhaps thoughts of we feel vulnerable, so then we think, what if this isn't perfect? I could have done something better. And so we want to squash some of that, and we want to create an opportunity to savor. And so savor is a actual term used in positive psychology. The 5-part framework that this book is written on by Martin Seligman, who is considered the father of positive psychology, 40 years of research talks about the art of savoring, and that's one of the ways that we can become more positive. And so the first one is share your good feelings. It turns out that joy shared is joy squared. So when you share what you are happy about, then your experience of that situation becomes more intense. So if you don't feel like you have somebody to share that joyful experience with, even writing it down is really effective. So telling somebody about your joy enhances that joy. And if you have nobody to tell it to, journal it. And if you want even a better deal, share it and also write about it. You want to take a mental photograph. About 50% of our brain capacity is used to see. And our brain can't tell if it is experiencing something internal where you visualize and you think, ooh, that was so good. It actually thinks that it is experiencing it. So take a visual picture of what it is that made you feel joyful. If it's your kid, your promotion, you're winning the lottery check, something, then take a visual picture of it, because your brain is going to use a lot of energy in the imaging and implanting that in your brain. So take a picture of it. Congratulate yourself. I always tell my clients when I work as a coach, I'm like, what will you do to celebrate? And they're like, oh, well, I bought some flowers last week. We want to celebrate because we want to remind our brains again that it's worth celebrating. So I am doing some things to celebrate writing said book. I just framed the front cover. Somebody suggested that. I'm going out to dinner this week, and I'm going to think of some other things that I can do to really lock in and savor this accomplishment and just not move on to the next thing. So take some time to celebrate. So if something that you want to savor and find more joy, what can you do to celebrate intentionally? The next part is use all of your senses. So if I'm trying to celebrate the book, feel it, smell it. Is this what Amazon smells like? I don't know. Take a look at it. So read it, look through it. What does the structure look like? You want to use all of your senses when you are trying to lock in joy. For those of you who have ever held a newborn baby and you smell their head, you're like, yes. That feeling doesn't go away easily. So lock in that joyful experience or that joy spot by using all of your senses. What does it look like, feel like? I have not yet tasted it. Thank you, I have some boundaries. But you really want to lock in that joy by really using all of your senses to enjoy that experience and enhance that moment. Somebody just said smelling my book right now. It does not smell like a baby's head. However, next time we'll have to get the scratch and sniff going on the polka dots, don't you think? All right. Number 5, shout it from the rooftops. I like this. If you are following me on social media, I am shouting it from the rooftops, mostly because I just want to share joy and I want you to be happier and healthier and all the things. However, give yourself permission. You want to embody it when you think about shouting it from the rooftops. One of the ways that we describe one aspect of joy is that people actually tend to have a smile that creates these crinkles. This is an actual physiological response, and I have such great wrinkles to reinforce these crinkles that you can tell when I'm experiencing joy. And so that reinforces to the brain, wow, it's a neural feedback loop that goes, wow, she's really experiencing joy. And if we give ourselves permission to embody it by like jumping up and down, clapping, any of those things, you do not have to do it in front of anybody. But I have done that after really great coaching calls. I'm like, I cannot believe I get to do this. It reinforces to our brain by doing something physical that this is a joy spot and this is important. So if you're just joining us, we are talking about the art of savoring. It is a psychological framework, not something I just randomly made up if you joined while we're talking about jumping up and down for joy. Get grateful. Write out, savor all of the things that you are grateful for around your experience. It is going to lock in the joy. And then the last place, and I know we're talking about joy, and they were just talking about how do we savor things. Do not be your own joy killer. So when we experience things, let's say we decide to start an exercise routine, we launch a business, we have a constructive conversation with someone at work or one of our kids, we think, oh, I could have done it better, or oh, I should have worded it a little different, or the order was a little bit off, or I might have done that better. Don't be your own joy kill. Come back to what you did well and really savor that. So this is built on the research of someone's last name is Bryant, and it is the book Savoring, a new model of positive experience. So even today, savor something that you want to really lock in that joy. Share your good feelings with either another person or write it down. Take a mental photograph. Take just a minute. We use so much of our brain visually. Lock it in. Congratulate yourself. Do something to celebrate. Take a moment off. Have an extra cup of coffee. Buy yourself some flowers. Something that really locks it in. Use all of your senses to enjoy it. Shout it from the rooftops. Use your body to move and reinforce what is happening. And create a grateful list. What are you grateful for? And don't be your own joy kill. Yes, there are things you could do better. Yes, there are things that you've learned. Yay, you can integrate those things, but don't smush your own joy. And lastly, which was not included in this list, don't just go on to the next thing that you think, oh, I got to accomplish this last week. My husband was very excited and I was not. And he's like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, what I could have maybe done better and my next book. So people, be in this moment, savor the joy spots that you're finding today, and your brain and your life will thank you for it. Thank you for joining me at Love at Lunch. All the love to you this Monday. And if I can do something to help you find joy with a complimentary coaching session or access to the book, then I would love to connect. Have a wonderful week.